If you're in your late 20s, if you're in your early 30s, mid 30s, 40s, 50s, and you feel like it's too late for you or you're too old or anything like that, this video is for you. And I'm going to go over what I see as the benefits of being a late bloomer as opposed to somebody who's who at least materialistically from a surface level has the appearance of being successful. Now, this is not an excuse for anything. Obviously, shout out to the people who have become successful at younger ages. Shout out to everybody who's successful, no matter what age. But as somebody who's just turned 35 the other day, this Sunday, I've had to just kind of understand myself a little bit more and understand why, in my particular case, I was sort of meant to be a late bloomer. And the very first benefit that I'm going to mention today, and I think it's the main benefit, is you garner a lot of wisdom. So it's a great thing to have wisdom as opposed to just having material success. Because, say, all right, instead of becoming financially free in your early 20s or 20s, and as as opposed to doing that, and you become more financially stable and free in your 30s and so on, you're likely not going to have to make the same mistakes that you would have had when you were in your 20s. And as they say, more money, more problems. Now, that's been the final boss for me as I hit my 30s. And that's realistically what we need to do as men in order to navigate in this realm materialistically. People will say money don't that's cap. Money absolutely matters. It's how we function. It's how we have roofs over our head. It's how we get from A to B in vehicles. It's literally how we eat and drink, how we're able to socialize. Money is as important materialistically as it's given credit for. Now that's a whole nother dynamic, a whole nother discussion. However, imagine if you would have gotten successful or rich before you were actually ready, before you had certain amounts of wisdom that you may have had when you're in your 30s and your 40s. You would have made some mistakes, and they could have been some lifelong mistakes. Imagine all the NFL players who thought they were going to be rich forever, and then they end up having like 3, 4, 5 baby mamas, and then they have to pay child support for the rest of their lives, damn near. Because 18 years, that's a long ass time, regardless, and even beyond 18 years. But imagine how many men that may have been successful at a young age have regrets that they made in their 20s, which, like I said, again, more money, more problems. Some of those mistakes could have been huge compared to had they would have had that same access when they were able to develop and mature a little bit more. As men, it's well known that we don't fully develop until around age 25. And this day and age, I probably say beyond that, probably we don't develop until around 30 years old. So it's good to have a certain level of wisdom and experience and understanding as opposed to just becoming super duper successful immediately when you're 18 or when you're still a kid, essentially. Another thing is, man, everybody is going at their own time. Everybody has their own journey. Now, I happen to be on the spiritual side of the spectrum. I'm huge into spirituality. So when I looked into my astrology chart, I was born on April 13th. 13 is the 4. When you have 4 energy, that resonates with you, you're going to have to start from the ground up. You're going to have to put in a little bit more work than maybe the average person or more people in order to become materialistically successful. But when you get there, you'll have so much knowledge and wisdom, you'll be able to sustain a lot better, like I mentioned before, when you were younger, when you were a kid. And we need to be able to give ourselves grace. And we need to understand that material success is only one dynamic. It's only one aspect. Because there are people who are materialistically successful, but they still feel like shit inside. They still feel depressed. They have existential crises, and it's like, oh, this money, blah blah, doesn't mean anything. Or more money, they create more problems, i.e., more baby mamas, i.e., more financial situations that just keeps them spending. There's a lot of people that have a lot of money and are still living paycheck to paycheck because they chose to increase their expenses as opposed to utilizing that extra money for different investments and other things. People can do what they want with their money, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So it's really something that we want to take into account and really not allow external validation and allow the world to pressure us to get to a certain level. Because that materialistic success that we crave is usually going to come from external validation. So when you're viewed as materialistically successful, you're going to be validated by others. You're going to be accepted by others. People are going to look at you and put you on a higher pedestal. People are going to put you, in cahoots with celebrity status type of figures. If you have a lot of money, you're going to be perceived as just a more valuable person on a surface level. So I feel like that's where a lot of us, that's the reason why a lot of us want that material gain, that material success. Outside of, of course, we want financial freedom. We want to be able to do what we want, not have to work for anybody else. We want to move at our own pace in general on a day-to-day basis. But the main thing with that is no matter how materialistically successful you are, the number one reason that we, outside of the acceptance, one of the main reasons that we want that material success is because we feel like it'll make us feel good inside. It'll make us feel fulfilled inside, which is valid. However, the better foundation would be to be able to garner that fulfillment, garner that happiness, garner those emotions that we desire and feel that what we would have if we had a certain amount of material success, and to set that as a foundation already before we even get to the material success. Because another saying that we also hear is that money only creates more of the type of person that you were already. So if your foundation is messed up, money is only going to make it even worse. If you're an alcoholic, you're probably going to buy more alcohol. If you're already a square and a lame, you're going to become more of a lame. If you don't have, you know what I'm saying? That's why you also have a lot of guys that lead with their money with women, and then they end up not really getting that fulfillment from women that they thought they would have because they're all leaning on the dependency for materialistic success. So what this reality comes down to is just being okay with yourself and giving yourself grace and being patient with yourself and being realistic with yourself. We all know what we need to do. We all know what we need to make happen in order to have that fulfillment within us. But you don't need that as a permission slip to have gratitude, to feel happy, to have fulfillment. You can get there. You can at least meet it halfway while we're on our journeys to becoming more materialistically successful. So that's the main thing. It's always going to come down to how you perceive the value of your life. You can easily be more happy than someone who's making $1 million a year. That's for free. Your perception, how you view yourself, the fulfillment that you have within life, the gratitude that you have is always something that's under your control. No matter how much they try to program and brainwash us to be at a certain point in life, we always have the choice to choose our own narrative, to set the tone in our own lives, as opposed to trying to reach for validation from other people that don't even care about us, really. It's you against you. You create your own life. You create your own standards. So just keep that in mind. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Because the destination, we see the destination on social media with, at least what people look like their destination is. But I guarantee you, a lot of them also have a bunch of issues, and a lot of them aren't really fulfilled inside. And a lot of that shit is fabrication anyway. You know how social media is. So constantly, man, we need to be working on ourselves internally before we even get the money, before we even get to that point that we want to get to in lives. We want to set the tone and become that before it actually materializes in the physical. That is our number one job, our number one duty on a day-by-day basis, is to fix everything we have going on internally. This whole reality is a lot more of an illusion than you would think, this whole physical external reality. So the best thing that we can all do is handle our stuff internally. And that's what I have for you today. I appreciate you for watching this video. I am a coach. I am a personal trainer. So, and if you want to get that summer body or that next year's body, whenever you see this video, New Year's resolution, whatever, my contact will be below. And I appreciate you for watching this show. I was on the spot. But yeah, just do your best, man. It's all about you and how you feel. It's all about your perception. We have control over that. So peace. I'll get up with y'all later.